We're on a rescue mission today, people. Our mission? Save every Pokemon in the world from the wrath of Team Rocket's radio broadcasting. Hey everybody, I'm DeoGenZ. Welcome to the Pokemon Crystal walkthrough. We've finally taken over the radio tower. Now everyone will get to experience the true terror of Team Rocket. We'll show you how scary we are. Oh boy. Well, yes, these guys are quite frightening. Their little experiment that they were pulling in Mahogany Town to force evolution of those wimpy Magikarp into mighty Gyarados, they're planning to take that plan worldwide. Not to mention, because we already heard on their radio broadcast, they're looking for their old leader, Giovanni. That's the funny thing about this gang, is in this game, they have no leader. It's not like in all the other Pokemon RPGs of past and then future onwards, because this is just a gang of misfits trying to get back together what they had lost from previous games, crushed by Red, or whatever your not NPC I was about to say, but whatever your playable character was. They're trying to reclaim their goal. Starting the episode off with verbal diarrhea. That's always lovely, but trying to reclaim their former glory was what I was trying to say. So their plan is trying to A, control Pokemon with radio tower frequencies, however they figured that one out, I'm not certain, and B, try and contact Giovanni on the radio. What's really cool about the remakes of the Johto region in Heart Gold and Soul Silver is that if you do the special Celebi event, which I have recorded on my channel, all you gotta do is type in Celebi to the search bar, you'll see a cutscene that has Giovanni listening to the radio. And it's a very interesting kind of time wave alternate dimension, which definitely will be a main theme of discussion for this particular episode, because in the last one we were discussing where is memory stored. And happily you guys commented back, so that's always encouraging for me, because that lets me know that you guys are willing to bear with me for some more existential discussions, which is great because all we're doing in this episode, really, is battling these grunts. And most of these grunts have all the Pokemon we've seen before, except now they're slightly more evolved, like this female grunt's Arbok here. Ours is better, obviously, because it's named Charbaka, which is funny and sort of ironic because my Charbok is named directly after Jessie's Arbok, which when it said its name, it was like Charbaka! Cha! I don't know why it had to have the CH in there, but it's just how it pronounced its own name. I remember the first time I watched the anime, because I started out in the video game, I was bewildered that they actually said their own names. I was like, wow, what else do they say? And then Meowth was intelligent enough to speak human language. That was even more crazy and mind-blowing. But the novelty's worn thin, I've grown older, and now the anime is just kind of there for nostalgia value. But I like the older episodes, as I've mentioned before, not the newer ones. So, what I recommend doing for the Team Rocket Grunt Gauntlet, especially since I won't be showing all the battles because, quite frankly, I don't think you want to wade through 5 minutes of 6 Rattatas in a row, or 4 to 5 coughings. It's just not pleasurable, so any battle that's ridiculous, I'm just going to cut. However, if anything vital happens, I will leave it in. In fact, I think this guy right here is one of those very Rocket members who has boring teams. Yes, he does. Lots of Rattatas, coughing or two. But Mr. Poof is evolving! Hells yeah! Our little vegetable Skiploom has turned into a poofy Jumpluff, and that's why I named him Mr. Poof in the first place, in anticipation of his final form. But what I recommend you guys doing is especially not skipping these battles, because you can actually walk around many of these guys, but instead train up your weaker team members. You notice that I'm leading out with Eevee most of the time for two reasons. One, Eevee has not really been out to battle lately, or even at all in this whole walkthrough. You'll notice that I taught it Iron Tail from a TM that we gained. I believe that we might have gained it at Jasmine's gym, I'm not entirely sure. And we also have Shadow Ball equipped to this particular Eevee, which I know we gained at Morty's gym in Ecruteak City when we got our 5th badge, I believe. 5th or 4th, I don't know. But I really recommend raising your weaker members here. For Eevee, this is awesome, because the reason I purchased all those potions I had forgotten in the past episode was so that I can slowly re-heal Eevee to raise its friendship level. Because the Pokemon I am trying to get here, I'll leave it a secret because it's one of two, and if you know me, you probably guessed already what it's going to be, but we'll leave it a secret until it evolves. One of two of those forms I want only evolves with friendship, and that was something new to Crystal that I definitely wanted to show off in this LP, how to properly raise up friendship, because it's a big mechanic here, and it continues on to be if you want to complete your Pokédex A or get cooler Pokemon with friendship. Another Pokemon that evolves through friendship, for example, is Togepi, and it will evolve into Togetic only when it's happy with you. Maybe you don't want a Togetic. Maybe you want an Eevee to go into Espeon or Umbreon. And with that, there's another minor specification that if you want Umbreon, you have to have it level up when its happiness is maxed at night. If you want it to be Espeon, you have to do this in the day. I thought it was neat that not only do they implement friendship, but for the Eevee forms, they also let you mess around with the times. It made playing this game at all hours a must, and that was part of its addictive nature, for sure. But a fast way to evolve your friendship level is to use multitudes of items on your Pokemon. It's the fastest, most efficient way to do it. Otherwise, you have to battle endless Pokemon, and it doesn't matter which you battle, as long as they win in battle. And sometimes that's difficult when you're trying to raise experience points and you don't want to go back outside of Newbark Town to face a bunch of Ratatats, Sentrets, and Pidgeys. And it's also beneficial because you're going to be healing with Potion. It won't do a lot of healing, but they're so cheap that you can purchase, like I did in the last episode, 99 in a snap. It's easy to get 99 potions, and that's really the best way to do it. Because otherwise you'll have to defeat a lot of Pokemon, or you'll have to wait for the Haircut Brothers, which is a pain, because they only appear 2 days in the week, I believe. They might appear more, I don't know. I often did not use the Haircutter Brothers because they were so slow in coming up with sharp dues for my Pokemon. And really, it was just not efficient. It wouldn't raise enough happiness fast. So, by fighting regular opponents, like Eevee is doing here, with some significant attacks, Iron Tail and Shadow Ball, really great moves to equip to Eevee, because it's effective. Shadow Ball being a ghost type, you have super effective capabilities against Psychics and Ghost, plus it's just a strong move in general. And Iron Tail, same thing, except you're super effective against Ice types, Rock types, and I believe that's all. I'm not thinking that Steel is super effective against anything else but them. Correct me if I'm wrong, and trust me, I've known to be in my walkthroughs past, and that's why you guys are so vital on these things. You really complete the walkthrough, and I'm not just saying that to fluff your asses. Really, you guys help me out big time in minor details that I may just forget. Okay, I doubt that Eevee is as happy as it needs to be in order to evolve. But in the meantime, let's learn Bite. Because that's a Dark-type move that is actually a pretty handy thing. If you want to have a Dark-type move on a Psychic Pokemon like Espeon, make sure that it gets to level 30 before it evolves into Espeon, and then you'll have Psychic with combination of Dark. It's pretty useful, and I don't believe that Eevee ever gains Crunch, so there's no hope of it gaining a stronger darker type move, so after that it would be safe to evolve it. But this gives you some good move variability. But going back to what I was saying, the discussion topic for today is the existentialism, at least. You guys were talking about thinking of life as a video game, and it's fascinating to see the parallel thinking that goes on with like minds such as me and you guys, because obviously we have many common interests, it seems. If Pokemon is one, then I'm sure it trickles down to others. But that's actually a theory I've been working on quite extensively in my notebook, is why life is just a simulation. I live life as though it's not serious, and that's not to say that I don't take my priorities seriously. I really do. I take my life probably more serious than most. I take care of my health greatly, and never plan on drinking, never plan on smoking cigarettes. Once I get a medical marijuana card, you can damn sure believe I'm going to be raising my body's wellness that way. And other than that, though, I've never had meat in my life. I'm, pretty much in control of what my body's functionalities are, and I want it to last as long as possible because this is a fun game. But my reasons for feeling that this is just a simulation would have to be the fractal multi and microverse, macro and multiverse that we live in. And what I mean by that, I'm not trying to confuse you with stupid jargon terms, but infinitely going outwards, there seems to be no end. At least we've not found the invisible wall that says, nope, can't go any further. And so it keeps on going. It keeps on going outwards, 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 and expanding. And when you look at that outward expansion, it's just a cluster. And is there a pattern? I really couldn't tell you. It seems to have some natural law governing it, of course. And the laws of physics, they play some role in it, but the laws of physics get wacky. I'm a big fan of Richard Feynman, and I read a lot of his work and listen to a lot of his lectures, and one of the things he discusses in great detail... Come on, gotta self-destruct? You cocksucker. Come on, Eevee, you could take that. Ah, damn. FYI, if your Pokemon is defeated, that lowers its happiness, so try and avoid that. But he talks about quantum electrodynamics, and QED for short. If you think that you know quantum electrodynamics, you don't know it, basically is what he says. But there are some wacky principles to this world. The fact that when observing a molecule, it changes its position when you're not observing it. So when you're turned around, molecules could be doing who knows what. But when you're observing it, that somehow has an effect on it. Very bizarre, very strange. Scientists have really no idea why. Like this guy, he's got no idea. Scientist Mark, that's why he's resorted to Pokemon battles. He's like, I can't figure out the universe, I'm just gonna mainline Magnemites. And really, I think that's all this guy has. But it's very interesting. It's a wacky universe out there, and just looking at it, it's many orbs clustering together. All the planets, all the stars, spiral galaxies, black holes, which are essentially the galaxies, the multiverse's big recyclers, because even though the density is so great that when it gets near a planet, it gets near some kind of cosmic body, it takes it in, stretches it out over the event horizon, and then you think it's never to be seen again. Nobody knows where it goes, but apparently black holes have some kind of capacity to them, because in their wake, they spew out material. They spew out cosmic dust. And at the center of many spiral galaxies is a black hole. There's one at the center of our Milky Way galaxy, if you didn't know. And it's theorized that they're kind of the ultimate destroyer creators of these galaxies. And it's very interesting because on a micro level, we observe atoms, quarks, electrons, all orbiting in a very similar pattern to how planets do. They're all spherical. They have a magnetic pull towards one another. That's something that many people take for granted, that none of the things that you think are together, or none of the things that look together, I should say, are actually together. They're just magnetically attracted to each other. Some items more than others. Solids have a much tighter, more crystalline lattice structure, while liquids are wacky but still magnetically pulled together in some fashion. And it's just interesting to me that that similarity exists, that atoms have electrons that circulate around. And by the way, that guy was just a useless battle. Just to reiterate, I would not skip something interesting. But it's very interesting that they orbit in this fashion, just like planets, and it infinitely can go inward. It's only a matter of what our technology can do, but we know it goes further than quarks. We know it goes further than electrons, because obviously atoms are made of quarks. But we know that the same goes for the multiverse out there. It's only a matter of our technology and how much we can actually witness. How much of that infinite can we see? And if you don't know what a fractal is, just type in fractal to Google, and it will show you a lot of images. Basically, it's a repeating geometric pattern that goes within itself infinitely and outwardly. You can zoom out of it as much as you want. It's going to be the same exact geometric pattern. No matter what point you zoom into it, it's going to be the same geometric pattern. It's very interesting to, it's very hard to explain, I shouldn't say. I want to keep saying interesting because not everything is. It's just difficult to explain because you think geometric patterns, squares, triangles, circles, but I tell you, I really encourage you to look at a Mandelbrot's set of fractals, and that will give you a great idea. Certain web programs, in fact, let you zoom into a fractal as much as you can, and you see that you keep going in, and then no matter what point, usually these fractals are colorful, no matter what color hue you tend to zoom into, it always comes out to the next same similar pattern. And it would seem to me that our planets, our atoms, us, we're doing that. We're replicating this behavior. And who's to say, I mean, hell, you've played video games that have video games within them, that have television within them to watch it. And it wouldn't really be so far-fetched to say that, oh, the director, you came to rescue me? Hold that thought. Is that what you were expecting? Wrong. I'm an imposter. I pretended to be the real thing. Prepare for our takeover. Do you want to know where we hid the real director? Well, too bad. Sure, I'll tell you. But only if you can beat me. Mwahahaha! This guy's really a piece of cake. Yawnsville. So, back to my theory. So, you know, the characters in those games, do they have a consciousness that expands outwards? No, I don't think so. But to them, the world that they exist in is entirely real. Who's to say that computers don't have some sort of sentience? They're kind of our own human-created organisms that are made up of inorganic material. I mean, this laptop that I record on, it's very much like a living, breathing creature. It's got a fan, it's got processes, it thinks, it does different things. I'm not saying that it's live, don't get the impression there. But how would you know? How would my character in Crystal know that it was a part of a cartridge in some greater, larger universe than itself that was made up of these weird mammalian creatures, us, humans? How would we know at an infinitely larger level that we were not just some simulation in a repeated circuit board that connects to everything? That's another thing that contributes to my theory. Everything on this planet is connected to one another. And it's not a hippie notion, I don't want you to get that idea of it, but everything that you do has an influence on everything else. That's why it really pains me when people take no mind or act apathetic in this life towards their daily existence, because whether you believe it or not, you play a huge role in this entire game. You are the main character of your epic-defined quest, and you are here with your hardcore mode one life mission. Whatever that mission can be, it can be infinitely defined and reworked and changed to do whatever you want. You can take up as many quests, as many hardships, as many friends, relationships, loves, as many things as you want. Experience tactile sensations, but this could just be a simulation. This could be a very convincing video game that's so convincing that it makes the users forget they're even playing a game. You plug into this Earth sphere, this Earth game, reality game, and through a multitude of connected chemicals that react with one another, and don't even forget this for a moment, your body is essentially a large beaker with all the reactions that you put upon it and all the reactions around it. That's why I'm very tuned into what my body is doing, and I make sure that it's healthy. I take vitamins, I take B vitamins, MSM to make sure my joints stay healthy. I'm not old or anything, but still, I did a lot of physical labor when I was young. I worked with horses. I don't do it as much now. More or less, I'm doing a lot more LPs happily. But back then, I used to muck stalls, which is shoveling horse shit, which is heavy. And I want to keep the body going. I want to keep this form happy, so I enjoy this game to the max potential. I feel so lucky and so fortunate that I get this position to be in this avatar, this flesh avatar. And what makes it so enjoyable is we know that it ends. We know that there is an end. Imagine a game that is just endless. Okay, so Minecraft is kind of endless, but it's only endless if you're creative with it. And so is life. Life is only endless if you make it that way. Now, you're probably saying, well, DeoGenZ, your body fades eventually. That doesn't seem very endless to me. And no, it doesn't. But the impact you can have on this simulation, that can live forever. People who have humongous impacts on history, and now it is becoming infinitely more easy to impact history through YouTube, through social media like Twitter and Facebook. It's becoming even more and more easy to etch your name in this circuit board hard drive that anybody can do it. Anybody can do it, and you are doing it constantly, whether you know it or not. Your life affects everyone. And sometimes that can be an infection. Sometimes it can. We are an infection to people that we buy technology from, because this technology, the reason it can be affordable is because it's made on slave labor. Now, it sucks because, yeah, it's really a hard moral question to deal with. It's not so cut and dry like Fallout, where you have a karma level and you just gotta kill the bad guys and you'll get your karma raised. It's a lot more complex, and that's what makes this game enjoyable and fun. It sucks for those people in that avatar position. But here's the sweet reprieve. Everything's recycled. That's the idea of the black holes. That's what I'm tying all together. Everything's recycled. At the end of this entire Earth game, even if you somehow find the elixir to life and you live forever, the planet is still in hardship. We're polluting it at an extraordinary rate. And, by the way, we never got a radio card, I don't believe. Well, we'll have to do that later. My time's up. I'll discuss the rest in another episode.